Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Kara McKinney. The MSNBC talking heads are openly mutinying against their bosses for bringing on board the former RNC chair to serve as a political analyst. Since Sunday with Chuck Todd, we've since seen Rachel Maddow, Mika Brzezinski, Joy Reid, and Jen Psaki all take pot shots at Ronna McDaniel. But I think Nicole Wallace perhaps takes the cake with this over-the-top reference to our sacred airwaves, which I guess is the logical extension of our sacred democracy. Watch.
NBC News, either wittingly or unwittingly, is teaching election deniers that what they can do stretches well beyond appearing on our air in interviews to peddle lies about the sanctity and integrity of our elections, which Ronna McDaniel did yesterday on Meet the Press.
Can you say, as you sit here today, did Joe Biden win the election fair and square?
He won. He's the legitimate
Did he win
president.
fair and square?
Fair and square, he won. It's certified. It's done. But I
Ronna,
do think, Kristen,
let
me just say something.
To say that. Why has it taken you until now to be able to say
I'm going to push back a little, because I do think it's fair to say there were problems in 2020. And to say that does not mean he's not the legitimate
Ronna,
president.
when you
There were no problems. But what we've also said to election deniers is not just they can do that on our airwaves, but that they can do that as one of us, as badge-carrying employees of NBC News, as paid contributors to our sacred airwaves.
Even when Ronna gets on her belly and she crawls before the regime-approved press of hucksters and hoax peddlers themselves, towing their line about the 2020 election, still isn't good enough. Apparently even saying that Biden won fair and square, despite there being some problems with the last election, is still election denierism. Now, I actually really love this because it proves what we've been trying to tell the Republican establishment this entire time. The left doesn't believe in compromise. It's winner takes all for them. So when you moderate what you say for them in a sad attempt to get head pats from those in power, all you end up with is them demanding more of your soul. Maybe this kerfluffle will scare away anyone else seeking to use the Republican establishment system as a mere vehicle for a lucrative job in a more respected area of politics like NBC News. Because we need fighters right now, not more Cheneys, Kinzingers, and yes, Ronna Romney McDaniels. Joining us now to discuss all of this and a whole lot more is Tyler O'Neill, the managing editor of the Daily Signal. Tyler, thanks for being here tonight.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Great. So what do you make of the not so warm welcome, you could say, that Ronna's been getting from NBC thus far?
Yeah, I think, as you noted, that was completely over the top, the way that analysts responded to her. There are problems with the 2020 election, and that's not any sort of denialism to say. I mean, the Heritage Foundation has a database of every single voter fraud instance since going back, I believe, all the way to 1944. And there are at least 1,500 cases of voter fraud that have been proven throughout our elections. And in the 2020 election alone, let me just go over a few of these statistics because they're kind of shocking. 2 elections were overturned in 2020. 25 people were convicted for ineligible voting in 2020. 23 people were convicted of double voting in 2020. 7 people were convicted of false registrations in the 2020 election, and 1 person was convicted for altering the vote count in 2020. Now, all of those elections, some of them are federal, some of them are state, some of them are local, but these are clear-cut cases where we can unequivocally say that there was monkey business in this election, that it was not perfect, that there were actual issues. And all of that, doesn't even get to the fact that they changed the rules out of the gate in order to accommodate the COVID crisis, while, then as soon as anybody tried to pull back those supposedly, once in a lifetime changes, they were condemned as racist, as Jim Crow 2.0, as Jim Eagle, as the vaunted president said.